Cheniere Energy, Inc., under its subsidiaries Sabine Pass Liquefaction LLC and Sabine Pass LNG LP, are building a natural gas liquefaction facility at the existing Sabine Pass LNG terminal in Cameron Parish, Louisiana. When complete, the Sabine Pass LNG terminal will be a bidirectional facility capable of both vaporizing and liquefying natural gas. LNG can be stored on-site and exported by specially designed LNG ships. The project will involve converting approximately 191 acres of land for construction and operation of the facility. At Cheniere Energy, our company values are to serve our community and do what is right. We can best accomplish this by demonstrating our commitment to our communities, our workers, and the environment through the execution of a project that is safe and protective of the environment. The safety of our employees, contractors, and neighbors is of primary importance to Cheniere. We take safety seriously, and we expect each of you to take it seriously. Safety is everyone's responsibility. Cheniere also recognizes the environment as a vital resource that we have a duty to protect. Our goal is to respect and protect the environment in all phases of our construction and operations. We are committed to full compliance with the laws and regulations governing the environment. Your company will provide you with all of the information, training, and equipment you will need to protect the environment. In addition, resources will be on hand to help and advise you whenever necessary. To help ensure the project's success, Cheniere Energy has developed guidelines to protect the environmental resources in the project area. We expect every individual on the construction team to help us build a project that is environmentally sound. Our goal is to protect the environment while constructing a Gulf Coast liquefaction plant that will stimulate economic growth and promote global natural gas trade. Compliance with environmental requirements will require a significant effort from each person on the job site. Each of us must ensure our daily environmental efforts result in the project being successfully completed without environmental mishaps. The project's environmental documentation may be found in the project construction office or with the project's environmental inspector. Environmental compliance is everyone's responsibility, and the project has a strict compliance policy that must be adhered to. Environmental training is required for all personnel on the work site. The Sabine Pass Liquefaction Project will have an environmental inspector on site during all phases of construction. The environmental inspector is a vital part of the project and is principally responsible for monitoring and ensuring environmental compliance. The environmental inspector is authorized and empowered to stop work and order corrective action for those activities that are in violation of the environmental commitments and conditions of this project, such as working outside of approved areas, failure to properly install and maintain erosion control devices, and improper management of hazardous materials. The environmental inspector is on site to assist with any questions related to environmental compliance and should be consulted anytime there is doubt associated with an activity that may jeopardize the project's compliance policy. When in doubt, please ask. Now that we've identified the basics of the Environmental Compliance Management Program, the remainder of this video will focus on the environmental rules that everyone must follow during construction. Construction activities related to the project must be confined to approved work areas at all times. All approved work areas are depicted on project plans and drawings and are marked on the job site. Approved work areas consist mainly of designated access roads, designated temporary workspace around the project site, and The footprint of the approved project facilities as shown on the most current plans and drawings. While on the project, you may encounter areas marked with flagging, signs, or exclusion fencing. These exclusion zones may protect rare plants or wildlife, sensitive habitats, archaeological sites, or other areas not permitted for construction use. Trespassing outside an approved work area violates project permits and can damage sensitive resources. All workers must respect the clearly marked work area limits, stay within these limits, and use only approved access roads. Failure to comply with any of the requirements could jeopardize the project as a whole and have serious consequences for individual workers. Do not enter or disturb exclusion zones for any reason. Should more workspace become necessary, the proper protocol and communications must be followed to obtain appropriate agency approvals before use. The environmental inspector is on site to assist with any questions related to approved work areas and should be consulted anytime there is doubt about the use of a work area. Erosion and sedimentation control is an elevated priority on the project. Erosion can occur when bare soil is exposed by clearing and grading. Install erosion and sediment control measures after any activity that disturbs the soil. This includes erecting sediment barriers around spoil piles to prevent the flow of soil into waterways or wetlands. Silt fence will be the most likely chosen erosion control device for this project due to the project's location and soil types. It is critical to install these devices in accordance with the specifications in the approved project plans in order to provide maximum protection of the environment. Proper installation, workmanship, and maintenance of erosion and sedimentation control devices are critical in complying with the project's general and specific permit requirements. Weather conditions and the efforts of work crews have an effect on the performance of these devices. Once installed, the environmental inspector will inspect the devices on a regular basis. Should a device be noted as ineffective or need to be replaced or moved, notify the environmental inspector immediately. The environmental inspector is on site to provide assistance and answer any questions related to erosion and sedimentation control. Project plans associated with erosion and sedimentation control devices have been designed for and approved by the various regulatory agencies in order to minimize the movement of sediment into wetlands, water bodies, or other sensitive areas. Soil stabilization within the project area may potentially generate fugitive dust emissions. Practicable efforts to minimize fugitive dust shall include keeping traffic to designated access roads and limiting vehicles from trafficking off-road, enforcing a speed limit of 15 miles per hour on unsurfaced roads, covering open-bodied haul trucks as necessary, and enclosing work areas as necessary. Many of the materials used during construction, like oils, fuels, lubricants, and antifreeze, can be harmful to people and the environment, even in small amounts. So always handle hazardous materials with care. Prevent spills by handling all hazardous materials according to product instructions. If a spill does occur, take immediate action to contain and control the spill, if you can do so safely. Spill response equipment will be available on the job site. Report all spills to your supervisor and to the environmental inspector immediately so that all spills can be quickly addressed and any required agency notifications can be made. Dispose of contaminated materials and soil only at approved locations. If construction uncovers contaminated materials, stop work in the area and report it to your supervisor and the environmental inspector immediately. It is the responsibility of project personnel to conduct operations in a manner that reduces the risks of spills or accidental releases of fuels or other hazardous materials. In addition to keeping equipment in good operating order, refueling should occur in designated areas away from wetlands and water bodies. During construction operations, all equipment must be refueled in areas located at least 100 feet from a water body or in an upland area at least 100 feet from a wetland boundary. Secondary containment should be utilized for on-site storage of fuel. All fuel trucks transporting fuel to on-site equipment must travel only on approved access roads and obey project signs restricting activities in certain areas. Everyone on this job is responsible for environmental compliance. Everyone from the management down to the foreman, the environmental inspector, the laborers, the operators, the oilers, everyone is responsible for compliance. If you see something that you believe may not be in compliance with Cheniere's environmental requirements, please notify your supervisor and the environmental inspector immediately. The project area is home to a variety of wildlife and bird species, some of which may be considered threatened or endangered and have special protection status. To protect wildlife, birds, and fish in the project area, never intentionally approach, harm, or disturb any animals encountered during construction. Do not enter or disrupt exclusion zones, and keep away from burrows and nests. Keep all trash and food debris in closed containers and remove from work areas to reduce foraging opportunities for area wildlife. Inspect open excavations for trapped or injured wildlife. Do not attempt to rescue trapped or injured wildlife. Notify the environmental inspector if wildlife is trapped or at risk of injury or death due to construction activities. First and foremost, do not enter flagged or fenced exclusion areas. Construction could uncover historic resources and evidence of early human activity, such as old bottles, broken pottery, buried foundations, stone tools, or burial sites. These cultural resources help us understand our history and are protected by state and federal law. If you uncover artifacts or human bones, don't pick them up or disturb them. Stop work in the area and inform the environmental inspector immediately. The contractor is responsible for the disposal of the wastes generated during construction of the facilities. Domestic waste is common garbage, such as paper, food garbage, etc., that can be sent to a local municipal landfill. All personnel are required to properly dispose of domestic waste for removal from the job site. All work areas should be free of trash and other debris at the end of each workday. Portable sanitary facilities will be provided around the project site. All employees are required to use these facilities. Paying careful attention to the environmental restrictions is part of your job and a condition of your employment. Remember, Cheniere inspectors will be there to help answer questions and report problems and violations. When environmental resources are threatened, Cheniere inspectors have the authority to stop work. Inspectors from various state and federal agencies will also monitor construction activities. Therefore, it is imperative that everyone on the job site follows the environmental policies at all times. Stay in designated work areas. Obey speed limits. Do not enter exclusion zones. Install and maintain erosion control devices. Handle hazardous materials with care. Practice good housekeeping. Do not feed local wildlife. Respect local landowners and private property. When in doubt, contact your supervisor or project environmental inspector. Building a job that is safe and environmentally sound is not always easy. It takes hard work and commitment to protect ourselves, our co-workers, and our land, air, and water resources. But we are up to the challenge.